the city, when you're cruising and you play that kind of music, it becomes very enjoyable. And also, in the meantime, also me and Sedric Musumba, we tell you what's happening in the world of sports, which is very interesting. And before we go to EPL, I was thinking and I was telling Sedo that his best club side, Ingwea Matere. You know, we call Ingwea Matere the only team in Kenya Premier League, so far, SportsPesa Premier League, not to lose a match so far. They have drawn 3 times, won 2 times. They have not lost.
They have 9 points.
They have 9 points.
True.
What are you saying about this big club, the big Ingwe,
the mighty
Ingwe?
It is now quite literally finding their boots. And I know where the fans sit. They are still not quite certain with the team.
Yes.
You can see them literally when the game, at any given matches, even regardless how positive are the results, they are still now sitting comfortable into their terraces.
Yeah.
But they are now at least having some smiles onto their faces simply because of those 2 matches that FC Leopard has gone ahead and grind beautiful 6 points. And this is what FC Leopard is made of.
Now you're saying
this is what the team is made of.
What do you mean?
No, the name is too big. The name is too big not quite to be associated with either draws. Draws is unfortunate, or losses. And what we were saying that the permutation of the soccer, the world fraternity, has really changed. We are no longer in the era where a draw will give you 1 point.
An extra point. You actually lose 2 points.
Exactly. So that is what the FC Leopard fans have not really been comfortable with. FC going for a streak of 3 matches and only collecting 3 points, whereby a team that has won 1 game and lost 2 matches are of the same base with FC Leopard at that particular point. And I am on the record, on the cards also being agitative about it. But then again, they have gone ahead and they must. So as to say, for the first 4 or 5 matches FC Leopard has played, now, even if I am not a coach, you can see literally where the problem has been and where it is. The team is playing very well in the midfield. The team is advancing the agenda of trying to find the net of any opponent that they are facing. They are putting goals behind the net of any opponent they are playing again. But they are very loose at the back. So as to say, we don't know what they are thinking of. Maybe their central defense, their centre back, is not firmly enough playing their role, or their goalkeeping is also not communicating well, or it might also be the story of collective responsibility. Maybe when the midfield advances and the forward line goes ahead, they get stuck. They don't fall back to offer the defensive services that are needed. But now that is the talk of the dressing room. That is the talk of the technical bench. They need to address that as fast as possible, because if they address the defensive lapses the team is currently facing, FC Leopard is bound to go and win match after match, going by how it has been scoring goals and how they have been playing.
Okay. Now, I think AFC is on the path of doing very well. Today, there's a match which has just been played in the Kenya Premier League, which we are calling SportsPesa Premier League. Is Mara Sugar versus Bandari. The match has ended 0-0. And there's also another team which Sedo has never spoken about, and I think they're the dark horses in Premier League this season, in KPL. Nairobi United went to Tunisia, where many teams have failed, and their goalkeeper did some heroic things there, managed to save penalties, and they advanced to group stages of the CAF Confederation Cup, and they have been allocated in the group proper 51 million. And this team, if you look at it, they have not lost a match locally. They came from Division 1. They are very compact. They are Mtaa boys. When you tell Mtaa boys, these are boys from the hood. And you know, football is in Eastlands, where these boys are coming from. And they are going to face Sofapaka today the match which is ongoing. What do you take?
The power of motivation and what motivation can do to a team. Also, the credit should be given to the technical bench, more so the scouting department. You see, they come to FC Leopard and they robbed Ovela. They again watched Chan all through up to where Rambest actually was hitting their back at the quarterfinal. And they saw the value in Manzuro Kwaro. They robbed in Manzuro Kwaro in that particular team. They have again and trading very hard. They went to Kenya school ball games. Scouted very well, see, and they brought in the brother Tuomala, if you remember very well. Watching all these signings that this team has acquired and how they have been playing and the value they have been bringing this team, they are players who are dedicated and they are very young at some extent, apart from Uvela, if you may say so, Mansour, and they play with a purpose. When they come in, they drive the purpose of what they were hired for. Manzuro Kwaro plays his role just like how he played in Harambee Star, and the rumor has it he might actually be leaving that team to Sweden, which means he has been a good player even at that particular club for the short instinct that the team has acquired it from. And also look at the technical bench itself, all the way from where their coach actually traded back from. Nicholas Muyoti, not to mention, is a student of FC Leopard, a team that he knows very well, a team that wins trophies. So as hired for the service, he tried his actually trade at FC Leopard. But remember what goes around FC Leopard, also the weight that team's carry. Maybe he would not be able to carry it at that particular time. And he moved away. He actually ceded the space, left FC Leopard to continue with their patch, and he continued with his trade. He has found his comfort at Nairobi United, and he's doing wonders. Watching how he played the away game, that's how you play. Remember, they had actually packed 2 goals to their advantage moving to Tunisia, because they won here at Kenya, 2 goals in the advantage. Watching that game in Tunisia and how they play, they were playing with a purpose until the last minute. I think it was an extra minute goal, almost the dying extra minute goal where they considered their second goal. They had managed that particular game very well, and they knew very well that they were not even to push the game to the penalty, if you remember. And the mistake actually culminated from the goalkeeper himself. Luckily enough, he came now to give back the team, and he came out as a heroic, because he won through a penalty, gave the winning goal through a penalty, and he made some tremendous saves. He was the hero of the team after, as in you say, from grass to grace. Whatever he did to that particular team actually carried that team to that particular, and they deserved, if they would have lost, because I remember after they had conceded the second goal, and I'm on record, it's only that I was cursing for myself, no one would see it. I had started castigating the technical bench and the team itself vis-a-vis what amounts from the game management. You cannot actually drop a game at that dying minutes of the game. They were in control of everything, but they dropped at the dying game. But luckily enough, they went to penalty. They get focused. Their heads were very high. Each penalty taker, they took it like it was their final match. They ensured that they scored. And we know the North African team, how they played, even in penalty. You know, they were so much focused. Each and every time they were scoring. Even at the point where the referee was so keen, because the goalkeeper actually could leave early enough their line twice, I think, in occasion, when they were taking their repeat, still he would come back and correct those particular errors. So the team, to say, I think they are good enough and rightly placed into the group stages. And as we said last week, CEO, I still stand to my mark that I think NSL was a better season, a better league compared to KPL last season.
Why so?
You see, what NSL has done with this particular team, it registered in CAF Confederation Cup qualification matches here in Kenya, went all the way to win against Gor Mahia at the final. And they were not playing easy team all the way, all their part to meet Gor Mahia. When they beat Gor Mahia, no one could actually think that this team was convincing enough. They went ahead to represent Kenya at the playoff stage. They have won all their 2 matches, and they do not actually in the playoff stage play easy teams. Remember, Etoheli is not a small team in that particular competition. Immediately after that match, they sacked their coach because of the record that they carry into the competition, being beaten by a debutant. So as to say, our league, which was the KPL, which is being represented by the reigning champion, and again, who played Feebles, teams that cannot actually beat a team of Kenya magnitude, they were beaten by a Somalian team. they went ahead to be beaten by Al Ahly. Okay, Al Ahly is a force, but that state of being trounced by Somali, also it was an advantage to Al Ahly going to deep into that particular match. There's something that really presented into that particular competition that really still tells a story of how Sport Pesa Premier League and NSL at that particular level represented their two weights. So KPL, they need to pick it, learn a lesson from that, and try to improve where possible, so that maybe come next year we do not necessarily face the same challenges our KPL representative has faced this season.
So now the other issue will be today that Shabana, which has lost 3 matches in a row, who started very well, and whose coach Okidi has done very well in the first 3 matches, would they turn out the corner, because they are now meeting Kariobangi Sharks today? I don't know how that match will end. If they lose, that will be a 4th loss in a row. If they win, then they are back into where they are, the top of the table. But just remember, Shabana had said this is their year to win the Premier League.
I literally doubt the form that they are presenting, not unless if a miracle happens along the way. They are praying so hard that maybe something happens with their technical bench. Because remember, rumors has it that since their talisman, Brian Michira, picked an injury, is where they started actually seeing their ghosts. And since then, Shabana has never picked a win. They have gone actually a streak of 4 matches with a loss. And having listened to their coach after the Peter Okidi in their post-match interview, and how actually he was really trying to manage his emotion, he was not actually in the good space to really talk at that particular time, because coming from a tactician who says that whatever the fan says, we are used to, it's just a hot air, they will talk whatever they want and go. And he was actually on camera. That should not be coming from a coach of... Okay, later on he came up to apologize, but already the information had slipped away to fans. I don't necessarily think if there are some fans who are sitting pretty with him, and they know very well that Shabana, just like FC Leopard and Gor Mahia, the management does not stop with the technical bench or the dressing room. It trickles to the fans.
Yeah.
So fans carries the bigger portion. Today is that they are the one who funds this team. They come to Stadia, yes, to enjoy, but their bigger pack of contribution comes from gate collection.
Yeah.
So they are part of the team. That's why they are called community teams. So whenever you are given the privileges of addressing the media, you need to be so much guarded with your words and what actually you are bound to communicate out there. More so when a team has not necessarily enjoying a better part of the run into the league. I think they are quite capable. I remember when they scored against FC Leopard, I lost at some point some hope. Also given to the sense that FC Leopard at the back, they are not quite good. And coming from back has been a story of the past. I think it has taken so long for me to see FC Leopard actually turning around the game, coming from back and then happening to win. But how Shabana lost the command of that particular game is what really presented so many questions at the back of my mind. Because the goal that were being, remember, a direct corner, Kinyanjui taking all the way a direct corner all the way to the back of the net. That tells you a story of the disintegration that really happens when it comes to defending set pieces from some of our team who are saying the Shabana stature. You do not allow such a kind of a thing to happen in a team. And when it happens, it tells a very big story, more so when you are in command. And also, look at how Moon actually scored that rebound. Some point when these passes are really being really pushed around your goal, between your defense, you need to be very curious how those spaces are being seeded out to the opponent. And why are you allowing opponent to do that? There are sometimes what we call actually taking some technical fouls just for the interest of your team. When you see those things happening, why don't you pick? Because if you pick a player, if you are not in a prime space for red card, pick a player, pick one yellow card for the team and save the team from conceding. So game management, just like FC Leopard, is what costed Shabana. They would have managed that game because they were really in control of the game and they were playing very well. the essence that they couldn't manage to manage the game and maybe come out victorious, and they were playing back at home, is what is irritating fans. And I don't think if Okidi is in safe hands, I think the match that they are playing this weekend and more so today carries
it's a defining moment.
Carries Okedi's fate in that particular team.
It's a defining moment for the coach, but also for the club, Shabana. And I thank you, Sedu. I think the other thing I needed to look at, and we will just need to touch on very quickly, is that tomorrow there are a couple of other matches to be played. Kakamega Homeboys will be facing Tusker. It's interesting. Tusker have bounced back. They have won 2 on the trot after a series of losses from the beginning of the season. So Tusker are recovering from a very bad start of the league. So they are meeting Kakamega Homeboys tomorrow at in Kakamega. Then this Bidco United versus APS Bomet. Bidco, the first team to beat Gor Mahia in the first match of the league this season, is meeting APS Bomet. And I think it's in Thika. And this Kenya Police, the reigning champions, will be facing the high-flying Posta Rangers tomorrow. And the Kenya Police and Posta, that's a very good match, and it'll be in the balance. Also, Muranga Seal will be facing KCB. Robert Matano, the Lion, has been not doing very well in the last 3 or 4 matches again in KCB. And tomorrow is the time they can miss the basement boys, Muranga Seal, maybe to do what they can do and what we call bounce back. And then there's also another interesting match tomorrow where Ingwe will meet Mathare. It's a derby, Nairobi derby there. And I hope that Mathare and Ingwe will see how to end that match, because AFC high flying 2 games. They've won in a row, so they're meeting Mathare, who lost last weekend to Gor Mahia 2-0 at Kasarani. So Mathare needs to bounce back. AFC needs to continue with their good, fine form and win that match. Then there's also the match tomorrow. The final match of the day tomorrow is none other than high-flying Gor Mahia versus Ulinzi Stars. And I think it will be played in Nairobi. Ulinzi has been stuttering. They've even sacked their coach. And I think let's see whether in the Ulinzi Stadium they will come with something, because it's a match which will be very difficult to predict as well. But Gor has been performing very well, and so they need to, if they win that match, they'll go top of the table, because they're trailing Kakamega Homeboys by a point, and they've played less matches. So that's how our local league looks like. And I say that in the Premier League today, there are 4 or 6 matches being played this evening. Brighton versus Leeds United at 6, Burnley versus Arsenal at 6, Crystal Palace versus Brentford at 6, Fulham and Wolves at 6, Nottingham Forest and United at 6, and then a London derby of Tottenham and Chelsea at 7:30, and Liverpool and Aston Villa at 8. So there are very many matches to be played this afternoon and later in the evening. But there are people who are listening to us, and it's always good for us to give you a shout out. Remember, the Pitchside is your show. You can predict the scores, you can send in the request, and of course we will play you the music you prefer, but also tell us who do you think will win the matches this evening. We are ready, and you can see your prediction. We'll announce a prediction on air as we go on. The first person is John Gisheru of Ngarariga Limuru. I love Ngarariga, just up there. When you pass Manguo, you go to Ngarariga, and you go mbele yake hapo kidogo, you go to Ngugi wa Thiong'o's home. So John Gisheru, your hometown there in Ngarariga is a very good place. Past Manguo Primary School. My brother went to Manguo Primary School there. And then there's also a couple of guys, Isaac Ngeno, Odongo Steven, Franklin Kipruto, Pilipili Hoho, and Ronald Koech. Asanteni sana for tuning in Spice Pitchside this afternoon. It's wonderful. So DJ Champs on the 1 and 2s. When we come back, we analyze the big matches in EPL. With Sedric Musumba, where we say it's not over until the fat lady sings. And I always say, the fat lady sang, joined a gym, and became a supermodel. Keep listening.